Oh boy, this is old school.
You ever think about updating a bit? It's pretty old school.
I only ever went to one school.
Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, and we'll be taking a look at fitness YouTuber Johanna Sophia from Grow with Jo. Now, first let me tell you quickly about my sponsor, Squarespace. I know I talk about Squarespace a lot over here, but I get so many questions about how to quickly scale an online business, and I do think that it does start with a website or blog. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform, whether you're looking to build a website, blog, online store, or use their marketing tools and analytics. They have some awesome extensions for e-commerce that really allow you to promote your products and streamline bookkeeping, collect payments and donations, as well as link up your social media accounts so that really everything is working together seamlessly. Honestly, I always say that the best use of your time is in your business, not in putting together a complicated website. So if you're looking to start up a new business or passion project this year and need a website to get started, check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/AbbeySharp to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, before we get into it, feel free to pause the screen or look at the description to check out my disclaimer, including a trigger warning to those with current or previous experiences with disordered eating. As always, definitely feel free to skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring that little bell so that you never miss out. And also hit me up over on my social media platforms over at Abby's Kitchen on Instagram and on TikTok if you are not already following the fun. All right, let's jump in.
I've seen this like pesto egg trend on TikTok and on Instagram, so I'm like, I gotta give these a try. 1 cup of juice.
Okay, so Jo starts her morning with some gentle movement by doing a 30-minute incline walk and then doing some stretches. And it looks like it was done fasted. She just had some tea beforehand, but Jo does say in the description of this video that she really only follows intermittent fasting when it's convenient for her. And seeing as this all is happening so early, I think she got up at like 4 or something, it's quite possible that she's just not super hungry first thing in the morning. And maybe she'd rather just eat her breakfast post-workout when she can really sit down with her family to enjoy and digest. I definitely can relate to that. Now, considering that this isn't like a super long, high intensity workout, and she's not waiting hours after working out to eat, I would say that working out fasted is really not a concern to me. If that's what feels good to her, it works for me. Now, as for her breakfast, we are getting some protein and healthy fats from the Pesto Eggs and maybe some cooking oil. I'm not really sure if she added any there, but we do have more fats plus fiber in the avocado and a little additional fiber and micronutrients from the veg, and then of course some carbs in the fresh juice. Now, I know I usually have something to say about juicing in these influencers' videos.
Time to juice!
And that's because juicing does remove the beneficial fibers that promote regularity and satiety. So especially when weight loss is the goal, I do think it makes much more sense to eat the whole food more often. But by pairing the juice with the protein, fat, and fiber from her meal, aka the hunger crushing combo, we're actually going to help to promote more long-lasting energy and prevent a subsequent energy crash. So if you love your juice, amazing. I actually think that juice is a really convenient source of micronutrients and of course carbs. But ideally, we want to pair those carbs with those hunger crushing compounds as Jo did to make a more satiating meal or snack.
I actually eat first thing in the morning with my family, and mainly because I like to eat with my family. I like to be on the same kind of timing as them. Yeah, there are some mechanisms that can help you lose fat when you intermittent fast, but ultimately what you want to be doing is making sure that your calorie intake is lower than maintenance if you want to lose weight, higher than maintenance if you want to gain weight or gain lean muscle, and at maintenance if you want to maintain.
Yep, 100%. I discuss this in a lot more detail in my video on intermittent fasting right here, but I would say that missing out on social eating experiences is really one of the primary reasons why a lot of intermittent fasters quit. And like Joe, I am a big believer in prioritizing family meals, as research suggests they have a number of physical, social, and emotional health benefits for our kids and ourselves. Now, when it comes to balancing that with the benefits of intermittent fasting, the good news is that it's kind of an easy trade-off in my books, at least. So research suggests that while there may be some metabolic mechanisms that would theoretically give fasting an edge in the weight loss race, in real life, outcomes aren't really that much different from any other calorie-restricted diet. The main reason people lose weight while fasting is not because of insulin suppression, it's because we're just kind of bad at making up for meals that we skip. So I'm glad that Joe is finding a weight loss method that works for her, that doesn't compromise on that important family time.
One more thing that I try to do every morning is not have any simple carbs or simple sugars. This helps me throughout the rest of the day not feel like I crave them.
All right, let's talk carbs 101. So some people like to simply categorize carbs into simple and complex. Simple carbs like glucose, lactose, fructose, and sucrose, as there are others as well, are made up of shorter chains of sugar molecules, which make them quite easy and quick to digest. Then complex carbs, aka starches, are formed by longer sugar chains and therefore take longer to break apart and digest. So while it is true that simple carbs found in things like candy and sugary drinks and baked goods and table sugar will likely leave you hungry or, craving more food soon after, there are also a lot of simple carbs in nutritious, satiating foods like fruit, milk, dairy, and vegetables as well. The key difference here is that the simple carbs in produce and dairy are bound up by hunger-crushing compounds like protein, fat, and fiber. So this is why sometimes these little sound bites like diet rules don't always shake out in real life. In fact, Joe actually broke her own rules when she drank the simple carb-packed juice at breakfast. But that's really no big deal in my books because, again, she paired it with a meal that was rich in hunger-crushing compounds, as we already discussed, which helped to really buffer the blood sugar response. This is all just to say that we really can't paint simple sugars or simple carbs with the same brush as something we need to avoid, because in doing so, we're also excluding a lot of nutrient-dense foods. So it's so much better to look at the meal or the diet holistically rather than parsing it into individual ingredients and rules. As for her suggestion that eating simple carbs in the morning can cause you to crave carbs all day long, there's nothing unique about simple carbs that cause any specific cravings. It's more just that they don't keep you very satiated on their own for very long. So of course, your blood sugar levels take a dip, and then we instinctively go hunting for some more carbohydrates to bring it back up. And then of course, our energy is on this bumpy ride for the rest of the day. Now there is, however, some really good quality research speaking to the importance of having a source of protein for breakfast, especially when your goal is to lose weight. So research suggests that consuming protein at breakfast significantly can help to reduce appetite and subsequent caloric intake at meals later on in the day. Protein really is the king in the satiety hierarchy, so ensuring that we have a source of protein in that meal can help to get us to that next meal without feeling the effects of an energy crash. So as always, it isn't about taking away the simple naked carbs. It's about dressing them up with a source of protein.
So something that I try to do is have my breakfast high in fats and protein, and then I have carbs like the tomatoes and mushrooms that are not simple carbs, they're more complex.
Yes and no. While mushrooms are technically considered complex carbs because they contain polysaccharides like chitin and beta-glucans and mannans, about 70% of the carb content in tomatoes comes from simple sugars like glucose and fructose. Not that any of that really matters in my books because, like she said, these are low calorie and therefore relatively quite low carb foods, and those simple carbs are also easily buffered by the other hunger crushing compounds on the plate. Nutrition is all about the big picture.
I'm gonna be taking my pre-workout, half a scoop. I'm just gonna dry scoop it. I would not suggest this if you have never tried pre-workout.
The dry scoop trend of TikTok. Yikes. Now, this has become a super controversial trend among the fitness community, as dry scooping pre-workout supplements have actually led to some pretty serious health concerns like choking from accidental inhalation, respiratory issues, and dehydration. Most pre-workouts also contain a pretty concentrated dose of caffeine, so excessive consumption, especially on its own like that, can have some potentially dangerous effects. According to BuzzFeed, one 20-year-old woman actually suffered a heart attack after dry scooping, while another report by Newsweek suggested a woman went to the ER for high blood pressure and brain swelling. Now, I'm not substantiating any of those claims, but absolutely these things can happen. And even if you're taking a pre-workout according to the label instructions, it's important to note that a lot of folks complain of side effects like tingling and flushing from the beta-alanine and niacin. Not to mention the supplement world is grossly unregulated, and there have been a lot of lawsuits related to banned substances and contaminants being found in fitness supplements like this. So if you're using a pre-workout, or any supplement for that matter, look for a third-party tested product, read the label carefully, and please use it as directed.
I am having this chopped kit sunflower crisp. I'm gonna be adding some veggie burger on top, and for Larry I'm making pasta. He's having the 5-cheese tortellini. I have the salad. I put some beets in there. I also put the veggie burger in there, sauerkraut, pepitas, and cranberry. This is how Larry's lunch turned out. And then I'm just gonna add a little extra cheese on top for him.
Okay, so for lunch, we've got a quickie chopped salad from a salad kit, which is honestly the real MVP in my book. So Joe dresses hers up by adding a veggie patty and pumpkin seeds for some protein and fats, and we got some fiber and carbs from the beets, cranberries, and veg. Now, seeing as this is a post-workout meal, and she's hit it pretty hard, she went to the gym and the pool at this point today, I would suggest a little more calories and carbs. Now, I know she made her hubby a big plate of amazing looking pasta, which she's not eating. While I'm not sure how it would work so well in the Buddha bowl, I do think there's absolutely room for a side plate of pasta here, even with her goal to lose weight. And if she didn't want the pasta, she could easily add in some quinoa or rice, sweet potato, or just double down on the fruit to make it really super easy. We ideally want to get like a 1-to-4 ratio of protein to carbs after a workout to help replenish those glycogen stores and help drive protein into the muscle faster. So I would say if she were to really focus on carbs anywhere in her day, it should be here.
It's still a couple more hours till Kaizen goes to sleep, so I'm needing a little boost of energy. I got some grapes. These are a great quick source of energy as they have fructose in them. So they're a little bit higher in the simple sugars, but they're a great quick source of energy. And then I'm having a little less than a handful of nuts. And this is a little bit of a longer lasting source of energy. And by a little bit, I mean a lot more.
First of all, I have no qualms about snacks. I think snacks are a really important way to help you get the nutrients that you need in the day, especially for highly active people like Joe. But I do think that had we had more carbs and more calories in that post-workout meal, that we'd actually likely have a bit more energy to perhaps get us to dinner. Now, while protein is king in the satiety hierarchy, like I said, we really can't forget that carbs are quite literally energy. And yes, we can derive energy from fat, a la ketosis, but there is nothing quite like the OG. Now, having said that, I think that this is a really beautiful balanced snack. We've got some protein, healthy fats, and fiber from the nuts, plus some extra energizing carbs and fiber in the grapes. But I gotta say, like, do we really need to constantly label foods as simple carbs or complex carbs? Feels exhausting.
Getting sleepy, huh?
No.
While she's not wrong in pointing out that grapes contain fructose, is it really that helpful to narrow our focus down to this singular food component? Because it's kind of missing the forest from the trees. And by trees, I mean antioxidants, fiber, energy, flavor, and fun. I really don't think we need another good food versus bad food dichotomy to have to obsess over, especially if it means demonizing something as nutritious as fruit.
So it's dinner time. Today I made some sweet potato fries. I am sauteing some Brussels sprouts here, and then I also made some chicken tenderloins, and I made a little sauce. Basically just ketchup, honey, and sriracha. So it's like a sweet and sour and spicy.
Okay, so we've got another solid family meal here with some fiber-rich carbs from the sweet potato. We got protein from the chicken and some veggie and fiber action from the Brussels sprouts. Now it is a little low in fat, as I'm not sure if she's cooking with any oil in there. I know dieters are traditionally quite hesitant to cook in oils or fats, but I would say 2 teaspoons spread over 2 people is only like 40 calories a person, but it adds so much to the texture, flavor, and satisfaction factor. Obviously, I think we can be smart about added oil, especially in the context of weight loss, but we don't need to completely cut it out. Now, aside from that, I do think it seems like a little bit confusing that Joe is so adamant to call out every source of simple sugar in this video while coating the chicken in ketchup and honey. I have nothing against ketchup or honey. I mean, we eat ketchup with our side of fries in my house, but there's just a lot of mixed messages going on, and I really don't think Joe needs to worry so much about the whole simple versus complex carb situation when incorporating it into balanced meals like this.
If you find that you are struggling with eating the right things or fueling yourself properly, something that you can do is look up complex carbs and healthy fats. So complex carbs are the ones that you want to lean on. A lot of people, if you're asking them, how do I lose weight? How do I lose fat? They're gonna say, cut out carbs. Don't cut out carbs completely. Make sure that you're keeping your carbs there. This is gonna give you energy. It's gonna fuel your muscles. It's gonna help you fill out your muscles, but make sure you lean on complex carbs. Another thing is the healthy fats. You're gonna wanna make sure that you look those up as well. Find a list of healthy fats that you can have.
Joe is not wrong here. I mean, studies suggest that like 50 to 55% of calories from carbs is really the ultimate sweet spot when we see a decreased rate of mortality in the research. And while we definitely want to prioritize higher fiber carbs like starchy vegetables and whole grains, simple sugars also have their place, especially actually in supporting exercise recovery. As for her mention of healthy fats, while we did see her incorporate some healthy fats like avocado and like nuts and seeds into her day, it is hard to tell if she's cooking with any avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil or any dressing like she mentions. Also, while fats are technically an energy source, they're more of like a backup source of stored energy when we've kind of used up our glycogen stores. So in other words, if you're already eating enough carbs in your day, fat really wouldn't be the body's first choice for energy fuel. But we do want to lean on healthy fats for satiety, cell growth, organ protection, and help absorb our fat-soluble vitamins like vitamins A, K, D, and E.
you find that you're eating a lot of sweets or a lot of processed foods, then maybe you just need to take a step in the right direction. Sometimes it just takes a couple days for you to start loving healthier foods again. Try and push yourself to get through those first few days, and then as you keep going, it's gonna get easier and easier, and you're gonna find that you're gonna enjoy healthy foods more.
I think I get what she's trying to say, but I'm not sure I fully agree with this strategy. Most people are not going to be able to push through a state of deprivation and like uncomfortable pressuring and then find themselves on the other side magically loving foods that they forced themselves to eat. I mean, there is a reason why most diets fail. We just don't like pushing ourselves to do things that are unpleasant or uncomfortable. Like, it literally sets us up for a binge. Now, as I discussed in my sustainable weight loss video right here, rather than focusing on what you should avoid or take away, which tends to elicit like a scarcity mentality and trigger a binge, I like instead to focus on what we can add to our meals to really optimize them. So for example, if you love sweets and you enjoy a sweet muffin or pastry in the morning, why not add in some yogurt or some poached eggs? That way you still get the emotional satisfaction from your pastry, as well as getting the physical nourishment and satiety from the other hunger crushing compounds. Also, rather than pushing yourself to like something, why not find a way to make it enjoyable for yourself? If you don't like boiled Brussels sprouts in just like plain old water, then roast them in some olive oil, add some maple syrup, do something to make it taste better to you. So that deserves like a whole other video, but if you want some more tips on how to turn your meals into hunger crushing compounds, check out my video right here. So all that said, what are my overall thoughts on Joe's diet? On this particular day, Joe is consuming roughly 1,500 calories, which based on my calculations is likely a pretty significant deficit considering the volume of training she did in one day. And while this day in particular is fairly low in carb, probably because of this nonsensical no simple carbs rule, she does have 3 balanced meals with a snack, and she doesn't restrict any major food groups. So I definitely got to give the girl props for that. I would, however, love to see her relax her whole no simple carb rule. Not only is this advice outdated and incomplete, but she herself contradicts her own advice throughout this video with her food choices, and then goes off on simple carbs as like the root cause of weight gain while warning people not to quote her on that. Now, I don't want to discredit Jo for her weight loss efforts or knowledge in the fitness space, but I do think it's important to recognize that we do have a responsibility as content creators for the suggestions that we make. And I have no issues with people sharing what they eat in a day or even labeling their vlog as like what to eat to lose weight. But in this video, Jo is explicitly giving out nutrition advice, and a lot of it isn't necessarily scientifically sound, or at least it's overly simplified and contradictory in a lot of cases. I don't think this is purposeful deception. I just think that she doesn't necessarily understand the nuance herself. And it is very complicated, so I get that. But it would be a lot more useful, I think, to stick to what she said at the top of this video, which was, eat fewer calories to lose weight and eat more calories to gain weight. And then if she maybe wanted to throw in that eating more protein or a more protein-rich diet is helpful for keeping her full, I think that also makes sense. But there's no need to demonize simple carbs and then eat said simple carbs. It's just confusing to the layperson. My tip is just to tweak the language here, and I say let's shift the focus to dressing up those naked carbs to make them into more satiating meals and snacks. Think about balance, think about satiety, and yes, if weight loss is your goal, think about creating a modest caloric deficit in a gentle and nutritionally supportive way without triggering scarcity mentality. And I've got lots of tips on how to try to do that in my weight loss video right here. And on that note, that's all that I have for you guys today. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below on who you'd like to see me review next. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye!